Hi, my name is Stefan Segal, and I'll be reading the article It's Steph Curry's Game Now by Scott Cacciola of the New York Times. The article speaks of how Steph Curry is revolutionizing basketball in comparison to other greats in different sports. If you have somehow missed watching the Golden State Warriors this season, you might have a quaint notion of how basketball is played. You might believe, for instance, that three-pointer shots are difficult, or that players should generally avoid hoisting up jumpers 35 feet from the basket, or that in the NBA a team cannot clinch playoff berth in February, 6 weeks left in the season. None of that is true anymore, thanks to one player, Stephen Curry, a butterfly with a jump shot who is reshaping people's understanding of the game. Jargon usually found in airport bookstore display racks has come to the hardwood thanks to Curry. He is an outlier. He has caused a tipping point in basketball. The biggest disruptor in sports is on display, and where else? The Bay Area. In recent days, Curry has broken the league record for 3 points in a season, for which he did the first time 3 seasons ago. And the Warriors, 53-5, still have 24 games left to play, starting Tuesday night, home against the Atlanta Hawks. He has made 288 three-pointers this season, eclipsing his 286 he made last season. So now he is number 1, number 2, and you guessed it, number 3 on the single-season list. The Warriors could lose the rest of their games and still make the playoffs. They will not lose them all, of course, because they tend to beat nearly all of their opponents, and usually by large margins. The Warriors experienced a rare close call Saturday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who took them to overtime. Curry won that game with a looping shot just within a few feet of the half-court line. Once considered remarkable, now considered well within his comfort zone. As everyone from players to coaches to fans, some try to make sense of Curry's breakout performances, some context is desperately needed. To whom can we compare the shooting master? Basketball has had other captivating stars like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James, who started streaking to lasting fame. But the Curry phenomenon is different because of his size. He is a swiny 6 feet 3 inches, 190 pounds. And because of the way in which he dominates games by scoring so far from the basket, somehow stretching the court beyond its conceivable limits. It may be more useful to look beyond basketball to two athletes who define their respective sports: Wayne Gretzky, hockey's scoring wizard, and Babe Ruth, the legendary home run hitter. Long before Curry began smashing records for three-point proficiency, Gretzky was elevating statistical anomalies to an art form with the Edmonton Oilers. During the 1980-81 season, Gretzky set the NHL record for points in a season with 164, which included 55 goals and 109 assists. It was a remarkable feat, and he quickly overshadowed by posting 212 points in the following season. Curry and Gretzky are kindred spirits, quick and explosive, and capable of controlling play despite their relatively small frames for their sport. Curry can find spaces where it is almost impossible for defenders to cover him, Zwig says. From one record-setting season to the next, Gretzky managed to increase his production by 29.3%. By way of comparison, consider that if Curry continues to make three-pointers for the remainder of the season at his current rate, he would finish with 407, which would be 42.3% increase from his record-setting season last season. Yet in the department of athletic outliers, Curry and Gretzky were both preceded by Ruth, who broke the single-season record for home runs in 1919 by slugging 29 during his final season with the Boston Red Sox. The next year, in his first season with the Yankees, Ruth outdid himself by smashing 54, an 86% increase from his previous record total. John Thorne, the official historian of the Major League Baseball, noted that the numbers are actually deceiving. In 1919, Ruth hit 20 home runs on the road and just 9 at home, where he had to deal with the Fenway Park's then cadaverous dimensions, which included a distance of 510 feet straightway to the center field. Ruth clearly benefited from the cozier confines of the Polo Grounds the next season. Given those ballpark variables, Thorne said, a more useful metric to study is slugging percentage, and those two were off the charts for Ruth compared to the rest of the league. In 1920, his slugging percentage was .847, also a record. Ruth had performed Ruth had a profound effect on the way other hitters began to approach their at-bats, Thorne said. Where the goal was once to slap base hits through the infield during the so-called dead ball era of the 20th century, Ruth showed that hitting for power was possible and highly productive. Above all, Thorne said, Ruth was great at a time when most players were simply not. In sports, players tend to improve on average with each passing decade. As a result, Thorne said, it becomes more and more difficult for one player to emerge as some sort of outlier. The margin between average and great diminishes over time. But to have his slugging percentage and on-base percentage so far beyond the league norm, well, that's what Curry is doing now, Thorne said. Thorne said that Curry's emergence was partly the result of the NBA teams paying more attention to analytics, and in particular to the simple fact that a three-pointer is worth more than a two-pointer. The math is with them, Thorne said, and that's why low post play is kind of disappearing too. When Ruth began to hit all the home runs back in the 1920s, baseball officials recognized the excitement he had created. Many teams drew their fences in, Thorne said, and future ballparks were built with smaller dimensions to enable more hitters to slug homers. Thorne said he could see Curry having the opposite effect on the NBA. He has made shooting three-pointers look so easy and so effectively revealed to the other teams the shot potential that the league's officials might have no choice but to push the line back a few feet, Thorne said. It would be a real crusher for most players, most everyone, that is, except Curry. He appears to be on another planet at this moment. Thank you.